Hello everybody, we're back. Want to spend a couple minutes real quick just talking about tires. There's always a question about when should I replace tires on my bike. Well, it depends. Quick answer to that is it depends. So when I replace the tires on this XR100 are going to be completely different as to when I replace the tires on this CRF150R, which is it's actually honestly a serious kids racing bike. These 150Rs, liquid cooled, lots of power, lots of torque. So it's for a serious experienced rider. Whereas the XR100 is more of a beginner's bike and really not going to challenge the capabilities of this bike as much as you are this bike. So I think the tires I have on these two bikes are appropriate for what they are. As you can see, this tire's got pretty good knobs still on it, but if you look at them closely, you'll see that even though they're still fairly good sized knobs, they're getting rounded. And when they start getting rounded, they're not going to give you as much traction as when they're like on this bike and nice and square. See, it's got a little bit of wear on it, but these are still nice and square on the knobs. Square, square, square. Again, they're getting rounded and smooth. So these tires aren't going to crawl over rocks and tree stumps and just get down in and grab in the dirt as well as those tires. And the reason I say that what I have on these two bikes are appropriate for what they are, this bike is a beginner, maybe 10, 12-year-old kid's going to be riding this bike. He doesn't need or won't even really notice the difference between the tires that are on it and a brand new tire. So don't waste the money on replacing these just because they're a little bit rounded on this XR100. If this tire with the rounded knobs on it were on this bike, I would say absolutely replace those tires, because you want these on this bike and the type of riding that this bike's going to get. You want those knobs to be as big and sharp cornered as you can possibly get. The other thing I would look for on these, and this is common with these dirt bikes because a lot of times you don't wear out a tire, the time will wear out the tire. Not from riding, but from time. So these tires are rubber, and time is not friendly to rubber. So what you want to look for on these is cracking in the sidewalls. If you find cracking, and it's easy to spot once it starts happening, and they'll be in this direction. When you start spotting the cracking and they just look real dry, and people call it dry rotted, you want to replace those regardless. I mean, they could have nice sharp big knobs like this, but if it's got cracking in the sidewalls, that just tells me that the bike's been sitting a long time and those tires have dried out. So they're not worth keeping around. They will fail you regardless of what type of riding you're doing. So go ahead and replace those. So that's it. That's my lesson on tires.